and my co-host is Elijah. We've been away for a little while because we're revamping our show. We want to give our subscribers more to get to know us, and we want to start doing some more uploads. So thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe, and subscribe to Speak the Sports. The NFL draft is tonight, so we're going to see who's going to go number one, number two, the top 10. So I'm looking forward to the draft. The draft last year was exciting. And we also had Pray to All Here. So that's my channel that I uplift God with Pray to All Here. So right now we have Psalm 91. So anyway, you guys, I know it's been a minute. We took a break because I'm really looking at the channel and we're going to upgrade the channel. So I know people say, where's Speak the Truth 2.0? We're still here. But sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you need to take a minute and see what God has given you. And it's always about progressing to move, forward. And we're thankful to everyone who has been joining us and participating. I know I haven't been on here for like 2 weeks, but sometimes, you got to take time off and as far as moving forward. But Trump is going to talk about healthcare affordability. And right now, there still isn't a health care plan that's been offered by the Republicans. This has been going on for like over 10 years. So hopefully this is going to be enlightening. I know that they had people that were on our health care policies. They said that there were non-citizens that were able to obtain our health care. So I don't know what does that mean for the rest of Americans. How are they evolving it? Our rates are going to go lower. Is it really going to be made more affordable, or are these just words? Now, right now, you guys, I know a lot's been going on with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, and right now, Iranians supposed to capture a ship. So we're going to talk about that, but it's a lot that's going on with Iran. I think it's a lot that we don't know because we don't get the briefings that the President of the United States gets. So we got to go by their words. So right now, I don't know what Trump is going to do, but I don't know how much of the world is for the United States of America. And I want us to be respected. I want the rest of the world to look at us as the world leaders, as an example to the world. And hopefully, moving forward, even with this administration or administrations to come after Trump, that we will regain being about all Americans. Because right now, to be honest, I voted for the Democratic Party more than I've ever voted for the Republican Party. But I'm just to the point that the Democratic Party, someone can correct me, they don't seem to be for the American people. They don't talk about American people. They're not focused on American people. They don't have policies that they're focused on for American people. That their whole focus and all of the King's Day and all of that is not for fighting for American citizens. So hopefully that will change. That they will see that we're not putting you in office for non-citizens. We're putting you in office and we're electing you to office because we want our gas prices down. We want to be able to send our kids to college. We want to be able to buy single homes. We want opportunity. We want affordability, not just with healthcare, but with housing. We want more of the things that we deserve. Like we've been taking care of the rest of the world. What is the debt was 37 trillion. I think someone was saying it's 39 trillion now. So the deficit is going up. And it's only but so much you can continue to tax the American people. You guys that are coming in, don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe to Speak the Truth 2.0. From this day forward, we're going to be coming on every day. But I needed to regroup the channel because I want the channel to grow. We've have probably up to like 20 million people have been and viewed this channel. And that's a blessing because we're new. We only been doing this like a year and a half and we missed a lot of months. So that's a blessing. So we do have a message, but we want to focus more on what's coming in the future, like the elections this year, and especially 2028. Like who's going to represent our company? It looked like when they sent J.D. Vance to Iran, it seemed like that they wanted him to close the deal. They like if he had actually came to a ceasefire, he would be the number one candidate. That was a big test for J.D. Vance when he was leading the Iranian deal, the ceasefire deal, which he failed. He failed. And I was wondering why wasn't Marco Rubio on the team? He's the Secretary of State. He usually handles a lot of the foreign affairs. Like here go Trump. He's on now, you guys. So we're going to go to Trump and see what he has to say with this health care.
You get used to it? Yeah, you get used to it. We have to be careful.
Oh, I want to answer that. Trump won't let me.
President of the United States of America. He's got a picture of him with President Trump.
Well, Lisa Warren, I'm most definitely going to answer you. You give me a minute.
By the way,
President holds each other.
good. Are you all set? Well, thank you very much, and today I'm thrilled to announce that one of the most respected pharmaceutical companies anywhere in the world, frankly, I know it very well, is Regeneron, and it's agreed to offer their prescription medications at heavily discounted most favored nation prices. In other words, the numbers will come down at levels that nobody's ever seen before. The whole most favored nation thing that we've been able to do with Bobby and Maz and everybody behind me, Marty, has been incredible. It's the biggest price reduction in drugs in history. By itself, we should win the midterms, but it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. It doesn't work that way. People forget too quickly, but we'll have it's the biggest cut in drug prices in the history of our country by many percentage points. With this announcement, 17 of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, representing 80% of the branded drug market, have now agreed to sell their drugs to American patients at the lowest prices anywhere in the world. They have the lowest prices in the world. This would result in the largest drop in prescription drug prices in the history of the United States of America. I mean, that should be front page news, but it won't be. It'll be back on page 19, but the people get it. That's why we're in the Oval Office, I guess. I want to thank Regeneron CEO, a friend of mine for a long time, good guy, great guy. CEO Len Schleifer, and Chief Scientific Officer George Yankopoulos, who are two fantastic people in the medical world, very respected. We're also joined by Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Bobby, thank you. Secretary Howard Lutnick, Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's doing a fantastic job, they all are. FDA Commissioner Marty McGarry, and Chief Counselor of Health and Human Services, Chris Klump. Thanks, Chris. Great job you're doing, Chris, wherever you met in.
Thank you, sir.
He's there. For decades, Americans have been forced to pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, by far. Prices that were many, many times what the rest of the world was paying. Because we had a president that didn't know what they were doing, or they weren't able to get other countries to agree to it. I was able to do that because I used tariffs. I said, if you don't agree to it, we're going to put tariffs on your country. And they said that we would be honored to do it, sir, after telling everybody no, including me. But they agreed to do it. The United States is just 4% of the world's population, and consumers only 13% of all prescription drugs. Yet pharmaceutical companies have been making 75% of their profits from American customers. So think of that. With 4% of the population and doing only 13% of all prescription drugs, the companies make 75% made, I don't know, maybe, hopefully they continue, because actually it's not as bad for them as it sounds. In fact, many of their stocks are up, because actually when the price goes up on the one end, they make up for the price coming down in the United States. So it really worked out pretty good. To address this chronic unfairness, I signed an executive order instructing my administration to do everything in our power to slash prescription drug prices for Americans while getting other countries to pay more, in many cases much more. But their other prices doubled, and sometimes they tripled. and ours would go down by 60, 70, 80%, even more. Today, we're building on our unprecedented success with Regeneron committing to offer all new drugs moving forward at most favored nations prices. They'll make their current drugs available to Medicaid and MFN. That's most favored nation. Additionally, they'll also offer their current drug, Praluent, which is the lower cholesterol and fight heart disease, to all consumers at dramatically lower cost. It'll come down from $537 to $225 and be available at trumprx.gov. I didn't put the name, Bobby did and Oz did. It's true, actually. Remember I came in, I said, what's this? But they said, it'll be better, it'll sell better, would you help us? So I now have my name on medication, but it's doing great. I hear it's setting records, actually. I was watching the other day, Mark Cuban, of all people, said it's amazing what Trump has done with this. I can't believe when I heard him say that. I was sort of in a state of shock, but others have said it too. This whole thing it's turned out to be hot. So that's trumprx.gov. The company will also invest $27 billion to build up research and development and pharmaceutical manufacturing here in America, which is a big thank you very much. Today I'm also announcing that the FDA has just approved a new drug from Regeneron called Otarmany, a gene therapy curing a rare disease that causes deafness. You know, people are totally deaf, and it's amazing. I've seen some work on it. It's actually hard to believe. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Normally, cures for rare diseases can cost millions of dollars, and really the results aren't that good. But in this case, I'm pleased to say that Regeneron will be giving this away for free for a period of time, for free. And here with us is 2-year-old Travis Smith. He was born deaf. Was he totally deaf? No, pretty much. Right? This is 100%. He was 100% deaf, but he took this miracle cure, and now he can hear his mom, Sierra, say, "I love you." And Sierra, could you maybe say a few words? That's really incredible.
It's absolutely incredible. Regeneron works miracles. Yeah, he didn't know his name. He couldn't hear me tell him how much I love him. And now with Regeneron and this amazing surgery, he can listen to music, and he loves it. He loves to dance, and he loves instruments, and I'm so proud of him. He's been so brave through all of this. And yeah, now he can hear, and he has a bright future ahead of him, and I'm so thankful to everybody on the Regeneron team.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, even the fake news has to be impressed with it. They'll find a way to make it a bad story. He doesn't hear perfectly, but he actually does. It's about 1% off. They'll figure a way. How are you going to do it? You got to explain. No, they're genius. They are genius. I respect them a lot. But I just want to thank you, Sarah. That's incredible. Really, family.
Thank you for having us.
He's a beautiful person, too. That's a beautiful boy.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you.
His life is a happier life.
Oh, yeah, he is so full of energy and love now, and he was such a
So you
serious
see
baby.
such a difference.
Yeah, he was such a serious baby.
And
Very
before that, it was
fun.
it's very tough for.
Oh, for sure, he can't tell me what he wants or what he wants to eat or what he needs, and now he'll be able to do that. And
Wow.
it's life-changing.
That's a great job they've done. I want to thank Regeneron and other companies for doing their part to bring down the cost of health care for all Americans under our most favored nations agreement. We've secured gigantic discounts with price differences from 4 to 5 and even 600%. 600%. One of the most popular weight loss drugs has gone from $1,350 a month to as low as $199 a month. So that's a price that's incredible. So it used to sell in London for $87. And they raised it to $199, which is a big raise if you know, from $87 to $199. But that's been going on. That our country's been being ripped off for 30 years. How long would you say, Doug? Like 30, 40 years. For years with drugs and drug prices. So they're going up. We're going way down. And because the world is a bigger place than we are, believe it or not, it's hard to believe that, but they are. that we go down much more than they go up, so they don't go up as much as people would have thought. So they're going to 199, and we're going down all the way down. Think of that, we're going down from $1,350 a month to $199. That's, nobody would believe it. And this is true with all, I mean, this is the weight loss drug, but this is true with all drugs. Sometimes even more of a difference than that, sometimes a little bit less, but sometimes substantially more than even that difference, and you see what that is. So we cut the per cycle cost of IVF drugs by thousands of dollars, and we reduced the price of the major COPD medication from $458 to $50. What? That must be a typo. Is that a typo? From $458 to $50. If your boy was here, he'd go, wow, he got bored. I think he got bored. He wants to go into bigger and better things, but there's nothing bigger and better than this. They'll all be available right now at trumprx.gov, so it's, that's why it's doing well. It's not doing well for other reasons, it's doing well. Think of that, that's some discount. But we have others, and these are all top companies and top medications, and I think in the end, we're gonna have every company involved. We're almost there right now, but we're gonna have every company involved. So Trump RX has already received more than 15 million visitors, and every American should log on to check for massive discounts before they go to the pharmacy. It's setting a record. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. I've actually had many companies, I shouldn't tell you this, Bobby, but there have been many companies that say, we'd like to buy from you if you could. What? TrumpRx.com. I said, it's not for sale, it's not me, it's the government. The government owns it, I don't own it. But they're all impressed, these pharmaceutical companies, they said they've never seen anything like this. So it's fantastic. Now, I'd like to ask Secretary Kennedy to say a few words, and then we'll have Dr. Oz, the team at Regeneron, and Sierra. And Sierra, I'm so happy for you. And Chris Klump has been unbelievable, a real star. You don't know his name as much as some of the others, but he's a real star of the group. So, Bobby, please, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was reminded when the President was speaking of a conversation that I had yesterday with one of the Democratic senators who was questioning me during a hearing, and she was ridiculing President Trump for his math. She was saying, it's mathematically impossible to have a drug drop by 600% cost, which he had claimed. And I said, well, if the drug was $100 and it raised the price to $600, that would be a 600% rise. Well, if it drops from 600 to 100, that's a 600% savings. And the President used that mathematical device to illustrate the magnitude of the theft that has been happening against our country and our people. As he said, we have 4.2% of the world's population. We take 13% of the pharmaceutical drug. We spend 80% of the biotechnology research in our country, and we provide 75% of the profits to the pharmaceutical industry. This is a ripoff that has irked him for 20 years. During his first term, he held the line on drug prices for the first time in history. He came back on this term and he said, we're going to lower them this time, no matter what. There's people in this room who are part of the White House staff who said we can't do that. Oz and I said we probably can't do that, but he harassed us. We were beleaguered. It was like Fort Apache. Dr. Oz would not answer his phone because I'm calling all night long with the president on the line saying, get this done. And we brought in this amazing superstar, Chris Klump, and he negotiated these agreements that people said were impossible. I want to thank him for his leadership, Chris, and I want to thank George and Lynn, who are the co-founders of this this company, Regeneron. Their generosity, their idealism, their love of this country, and their compassion for these children who are injured. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. Amazing. It is amazing. And you're right, I took a lot of heat. I'd say 500, 600. But we also say sometimes 50%, 60%, different kind of calculation. 70, 80, and 90%. And people understand that better. But there are two ways of calculating it, but either way, it doesn't make any difference, whether it's 60, 70, or 80%, nobody's ever heard of it. But it's also 500, 600, 700, depending on the way you want to look at it, so the way you word the calculation, it's either way. But Bobby, you're doing a fantastic job. We wanted somebody out of the box, and we got him, right? I would say we got him. And Bobby, he's a great guy, actually. So, Oz, how about saying a few words, please?
So this has been an unprecedented process. The president insisted we deal with one critical number you should all remember, which is that 1 in 3 Americans, when they go to the drugstore, after they've seen a doctor, will often leave empty-handed because they cannot afford the medications they're picking up. So affordability was the main word the president would use in many of those phone calls. He wanted it to be done fairly. We created a partnership with the pharmaceutical industry that was remarkable in that it pushed 17 massive companies into the fold to try to do deals, again, unprecedented, that would allow us to claim that they were giving the most favored nation pricing to this country, to the American people. The president would not take no for an answer. We got 16 companies in, but not the 17th. How many times do you think we spoke about the 17th company?
Too much.
17, he said 17, he wanted to be 17, whatever math you want to make, 16 is not 17. There's a reason that the 17th company was delayed, it's why they're here today. It's that beautiful young boy you saw earlier. When you can save a child's hearing, and Mr. President, we talked about a lot of numbers, Secretary Kennedy quoted 100%, 600%, it's hard to beat free. Free is the best price, and that's the starting price with the president oftentimes, and that's what this wonderful company's agreed to. I want to applaud TrumpRx.gov, a remarkable site created by Joe Gebbia, and Corstein has done a wonderful job with 0 glitches, serving more than 10 million individual unique Americans so far. And Mr. President, it's the fastest website I've ever seen. People love it because it works well. There's all kinds of additional elements being added to it, which we'll be talking about. But this website, as the President said, must be checked if you're going to buy a medication to make sure your price is the right price. It's a transparency site that is more rigorous than anything that I have seen. And Mr. President, your name is attached to it. And of course, that brings a tremendous amount of attention to it. We wanted it to be perfect, and the team that did that has accomplished that exactly. I want to applaud Chris. We cannot thank him enough. But it was also John Brooks, Hernandez. I see Beth back there, Theo, Ruchel, a bunch of people who've done a tremendous amount of work. And what I keep hearing from the pharmaceutical industry, maybe my colleagues can address it in your comments, they never expected to have a counterparty as qualified in the federal government. If you're thinking of serving your nation, this is the right time to do it. This is the right administration to serve it because the president makes it easy to do the right thing. Gentlemen?
Yes, thank you. Mr. President, Secretary Kennedy, Secretary Lutnick, Commissioner Macri, Administrator Oz, and I guess Superstar Klum. Thanks for having us here on behalf of all Regeneron. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Len Schleifer, President and CEO of Regeneron, and with me is Dr. George Ankopoulos, President and Chief Scientific Officer of Regeneron. And together, well, I should pause there, I just realized something. I'm a president, he's a president, he's a president, and all 3 of us grew up in Queens, New York.
Right.
So there's something maybe that was going on back then that was good. I'm not sure about now. So anyway, together we founded, George and I founded Regeneron, and have built it over the past 4 decades. Today we are here. We were not pushed to be here. We are happy to be here because it marks an important step to lower drug prices. We've been arguing for more than a decade that other wealthy nations have been getting a free ride with American innovation. Just like in defense, but they've been getting in health defense a free ride. And now President Trump is putting policies in place to force these nations to pay their fair share, which will in turn lower prices for Americans. It's a good deal. But we have to remember this is just the beginning. The most important battle we all face is disease itself. We have to recognize how hard this fight is. For most major diseases that you or your loved one might suffer from, like Alzheimer's disease, to cancers, to genetic diseases, we are very far away from a cure. And we have to understand that discovering cures is perhaps the hardest scientific challenge humans undertake. Much harder than getting to the moon, not that we don't like that, but much harder than even getting to Mars or making the next generation of cell phones or electric cars. Hard like staring into the unknown for years, sometimes decades, with no guarantee that anything you're doing will ever make a difference for somebody like Travis Ward. We spent 25 years and billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars before we produced our first important medicine, or even earned our first profit. Maybe should have been or might have been fired, but we stuck with it. Our relentless commitment to disruptive innovation ultimately turned us into one of the most productive biotechnology companies in history. We have produced, thanks to George and his team, new medicines at the rate of about one important medicine a year for the last 15 years, including truly miraculous advances, impacting millions of lives. And we have two people here who are living proof. Mr. President, when you were ill with COVID, it was Regeneron's monoclonal cocktail that you affectionately dubbed the Regeneron. We love it. And that helped save your life. That was invented by George right here and his team. George?
Well, the addition of the president we had a few minutes ago, Sierra's beautiful boy, Travis, who was born without the ability to hear, as you heard from Sierra. And the same company and the same dedicated team of scientists that helped save the president's life also delivered a first-of-its-kind gene therapy known as autonomy. So Travis can now hear his mother, as she told him, tell him that she loves him. Hard to think of a greater gift. And just like you, Mr. President, who made our antibody treatment for COVID free for all Americans and thus saved many lives, we have made the decision, the unprecedented corporate commitment, to provide this first-of-its-kind gene therapy for hearing loss free to all the children in the United States who can benefit from it. And we do this, why? To hopefully highlight the power of disruptive biotech innovation and all the good that it can bring to all of our lives and our health. But we have to remember, despite the miraculous advances like autonomy and like the regenerative COVID treatment, we also have to highlight how far we have yet to go to address the many diseases that lack effective treatments. And the cures will not be coming unless we not only celebrate the advances of the biopharma industry to date, but we all work together, private sector, together with the government, to not only maintain America's position as world leaders in biotech innovation, but to actually bump up innovation and become even more disruptive. Especially in a world where China is increasing investment and heavily subsidizing its biotech industry and reducing regulatory hurdles so as to try to displace America's leading position. President Trump's efforts to make drugs more affordable, as well as new FDA programs, such as the Commissioner's Voucher Program, that bring safe and effective new medicines like autonomy to patients more quickly. These are important steps. One additional important way that I've been talking to the administration about to maintain our leading position in the world is to create catalysts and accelerants for our industry and for the healthcare system, such as developing a national healthcare database linked to molecular data, including human sequence data, where Regeneron once again is a world leader. Without such big data sets, powerful new technologies such as AI, despite its potential, will not be as useful as it could be in the quest to develop new medicines and improve healthcare. The biopharma industry of America has and will continue to deliver miraculous breakthroughs. You, Mr. President, and young Travis are living testaments of that. But many more lives need to be helped and saved. We need to attain a new level of disruptive innovation. We have to all work together to meet this challenge. Why? Because lives are at stake.
Let me briefly say something. I'm married to a lawyer, my son is a lawyer, but I'm going to talk about the Constitution, and I'm not an expert. But I know our Constitution lays out a vision on how America would out-innovate, out-produce, out-thrive every other nation on earth. And in it, you will find a description of a system built on incentive and reward. A system that says, take the risk, do the work, and you will share in what you create. That is why they enshrine patent protection directly in the Constitution, not as an afterthought, but as a founding principle. As Abraham Lincoln said, another great president. Patents add the fuel of interest to the fire of genius. We must keep that fire burning. What we did here today will do that. Little Travis can now hear for the first time, and his potential is endless. Let's make sure he grows up in a country that never stops reaching for the next miracle. Thank you, Mr.
That's
President.
great. Thank you, Leonard. It's great to be with you again. Chris, could you say a few words, please?
Thanks, Mr. President. It's not lost on me that this year is America 250, and it's powerful, I think, to pause and remember that 250 years ago, a revolutionary free republic was born, and with it, the greatest innovation engine in the history of humanity. And we stand here today, 250 years later, getting to witness yet another groundbreaking innovation that doesn't just treat, but cures deafness in children. And because of this president and his policies around most favored nation, will enable families who are struggling and suffering with this affliction to have access to that groundbreaking therapy for free. Now, as the president mentioned, we've negotiated the 17th of 17 agreements. This represents 86% of the branded pharmaceutical drug market in the United States. But anyone who knows us knows that we're not done. That's a milestone, it's not the finish line. And so we have three core objectives that are next up. Number one, and this is already underway, we are negotiating with the many hundreds of biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies representing that other 14% that are building the cures for tomorrow. To all those who are listening, I hope that we have proven that we are credible and reliable and trustworthy partners. We want to sit with you, we will listen to you, we will take the time to understand your businesses, not only as we negotiate on behalf of every American family for affordability, but also to ensure that you're best positioned to create the cures for tomorrow. Second, we continue our work on negotiating international trade agreements. 59 days after we stood in this office and President Trump, standing with Albert Bourla from Pfizer, announced the first of the 17 MFN deals, together with our colleagues from the Department of Commerce under Secretary Lutnick's leadership and from the U.S. Trade Representative's office under the leadership of Ambassador Greer, we negotiated a landmark agreement with the government of the United Kingdom in which they agreed to increase significantly the amount that they spend on branded pharmaceuticals for the first time in 26 years. That work continues with other countries. And third, we will continue our work with our partners in Congress to codify the principles that underpin these most favored nation deals so that these savings for American families and this innovation that is unleashed at the same time persists for decades to come. So that the 1 in 3 or 4 families that Dr. Oz mentioned, standing at a pharmaceutical counter or pharmacy counter right now, wrestling with the decision that no family should have to make of whether or not they can pick up their prescription because they can't afford it will no longer be the case. And at the same time, we know that there are roughly 20,000 known diseases in the world, and we have a treatment or a cure for fewer than a quarter of those. And so this president and his policies is not only safeguarding affordability for American families, but is ensuring that we continue to bet on American exceptionalism. We bet on innovation. We bet on the principles that have taken us to this place in 250 years for the next 250 years. Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Great job you do. Maybe you want to talk about rescheduling while we're here and just say what you're doing and
Yes.
the progress that you've made.
Right. Well, Mr. President, today is another promise made, promise kept day. On December 18th, you signed an executive order on increasing medical marijuana and cannabidiol research. And today we delivered on that promise. The acting attorney general this morning signed an order that moves into Schedule 3 medical marijuana products that are FDA approved or that are state licensed. This is a giant move forward to implement your promise, and it's actually a campaign promise that you made. You said we're going to move into Schedule 3 to increase the research on these medical products. And just wanted everyone to know that one, you make promises, you keep them, and two, what does Schedule 3 mean for state licensed medical marijuana products? We will begin implementation right away of this order. It does not legalize marijuana, it makes it easy for the researchers to actually study and understand medical marijuana, especially in populations that are using it. We know that 1 in 10 seniors right now use medical marijuana in the past year, and they report that it really helps them, but we don't have the science or the understanding to guide the patients and the doctors, and so both patients and doctors are flying blind without knowing how they interact with other medications because the research has been difficult to do. And so your promise today says those state licensed medical marijuana products are now in Schedule 3, and we expect the research to
significantly increased so that we can understand how to guide patients and doctors in this effort. And there will be additional actions that will come this summer to do an expedited hearing for the administrative hearing at the Department of Justice for all of marijuana to move into Schedule 3.
And the military is very happy about it, and a lot of people suffering from big problems, which this seems to be the best answer. They're very happy about it, so the rescheduling is starting, and that's a big thing, rescheduling. They kept saying, what about the rescheduling? And so, great job, I appreciate it. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Howard Kessler. He's one of the most successful men in the world, actually, and he had some medical difficulties, and he came upon this by accident in a way, and he said, wow, he had to go through a lot of different medications, and he said this was the one that was much better than anything else. And so he experienced it. He didn't benefit by it other than from the standpoint that he lives a much better life now. So hopefully you don't need it, but if you do need it, I hear it's the best of all the alternatives. But I want to thank Howard Kessler and Michelle Kessler. They really pushed this very hard. These are two people, very straight arrows. They're not into marijuana. They're not into anything. But he found this answer, and he said, he's doing it for other people. And so Howard and Michelle probably, they're watching or they'll be hearing about it. But they worked very hard to get this done. And it's an honor, and you've done fantastically. You all have, and I appreciate it. And man is doing an excellent job as Howard Letnick. He's in a little different sphere. He's not in the medical sphere, but he knows what it all means. And from Commerce, he's the Secretary of Commerce. Howard, would you say a few words, please?
Sure. So in partnership with Bobby Kennedy and Mayor Manaz and the whole team, when they do Most Favored Nation, we also ask the company to reshore and build their drugs here in America, because too many of our drugs, our key drugs for our health, are being made overseas. And in a conflict, we can't rely upon them. And I'm honored to say that our partners from Regeneron have agreed to reshore their production of pharmaceutical drugs, and this is exactly from your pharmaceutical tariffs. That's the point. So that means $448 billion of drug manufacturing is coming to America because of your tariffs, because of your pharmaceutical strategy, and we are proud to invite Regeneron to do this giant build in America, and all the rest of the pharmaceutical companies. They've committed to build in America because of your tariff policy and your strategy.
And because of the tariffs, it's been amazing actually. We have Eli Lilly and Pfizer and all of the companies. We had, I guess, 7 of them here at one time, which was interesting to see, but they actually got along with each other very well. They stood right behind me, the biggest companies in the world, and they're all building, Eli Lilly's building, I think 5 major plants, which without tariffs they would have built none. I said, how many would you build without none? They were all making these products in other countries, a lot of other countries actually, not just China, but a lot of other countries. And I think by the time I leave office, they'll be mostly operating. They have an incentive to do them quickly, big incentive, like the tariffs go up if they don't. And remember, if they do them here, they don't have any tariffs to pay. It's an incredible incentive, and if they don't do them here, they have a very substantial tariff, so they get penalized. And it's bringing countries, not only drug companies, but car companies. The AI is a different thing altogether, but even there, but the AI is, we're leading China in AI, we're leading everybody in AI. And we're leading now, and car companies are coming from Canada, they're coming from Mexico, Germany, Japan. They're pouring into our country because we're very smart, should have been done long ago by other presidents. We were the car capital of the world 50 or 60 years ago, and then they just started taking them away. We were the chip capital of the world, and now, Intel, and now they're coming back. All the chip companies are coming back. You may say a word about that, Howard, real fast, because what we're doing with chips are incredible. And all we're doing is saying at the end of a year and a half, 2 years, if you don't have your chip company, you're going to pay a tremendous tariff to put chips into this country, and they are building. I think we'll have close to 50% of the chip market very soon. Right now we had nothing. We had virtually nothing. And they're coming in from Taiwan. They're coming in mostly from Taiwan because that's where chips are made. but mostly from South Korea, Taiwan, various other countries, but they're coming back to America. We're bringing them all back. It's a revolution. Nobody's ever seen what we've done. There's never been anything like what we've done. We have $18 trillion being invested. That's for 11 months. And the last administration had less than $1 trillion in 4 years. We have, in 11 months, over $18 trillion. Howard, do you want to talk just for a second about the chip market, because it's explosive?
Sure, so you've got semiconductors, you've got leading edge logic, you've got high bandwidth memory, and you have foundational chips. And America had a couple of points, 3 or 4% market share. And we are, of course, the biggest demand. And the president gave the order, let's get these factories, these fabs built in America. And our expectation is we will have $1 trillion of these fabs. These are factories. This is not the hyperscalers buying chips. This is literally the making of the chips, right? We had Micron, $200 billion, TSMC, $165 billion. The list goes on and on. He negotiated a great deal with Taiwan. $500 billion coming to America. We'll have $1 trillion of semiconductors. That's part of his $18 trillion, but it's foundational for us to take care of ourselves.
Well, thank you very much. Now, I'll go off subject for a minute, but I think it's very interesting, and I hope you go over and take a look, because it's happening right now as we speak. But first, if you look outside, so we had flooring outside, we had slate, and it was coming to pieces. It's been there since the early 1940s. And it's a path to the Oval Office. It's a path to the West Wing, and it was terrible. It was broken, bad shape. The whole White House has been in bad shape. It's right now in better shape than it is. I think the day they built it, this is better right now. But we're putting magnificent new granite. It's called charcoal. It's the black granite against the white, beautiful white walls. We've stripped all of the paints off. We had 200 years of paint, and we've redone it, and it's beautiful. And you can see the building, but you can also see the columns, everything else. But we're replacing, and they're working right outside. If the press wants to go and take a look at what they're really pros. You see the large slabs of black granite. Granite is rated as, this particular granite, over 1,000,000-year life. As an example, concrete gets rated for about 200 years if you get very high grade. This is it's rated over, can you imagine, nature produces something better than you can make. So it's very interesting. It's a beautiful job they're doing. It's highly polished granite in the areas you don't walk on. And it's called flame finished. The areas that you do walk on, there's no slip. So it's a beautiful job, and it's going up nice. And if you want to take a look outside the window, so that's replacing a stone that was here from the early 1940s, a little before that. And you'll see the ramp too. We're keeping the ramp. That was for FDR. He needed a ramp, as some people would know. And in his honor, we're leaving it. I wanted to leave it. It means something. The other thing that we're doing that's taking place right now is the Lincoln Memorial has a beautiful reflecting pond or lake. They call it a pool, lake, and pond. Everything is different, but the word reflecting is a good term. It was built in 1922, and it was built out of granite and various stones on the bottom, and it never looked great because it's not really meant to be a stone that's underwater for that much of a period of time. It's about 1.5 to 2 feet deep. You all know it well. That's where Martin Luther King gave his great speech, and he had 1 million people, and I had the same exact crowd, maybe a little bit more, but they said I had 25,000 people on July 4th. I have pictures of Martin Luther King's crowd, my crowd, the exact same, everything, but it was 70 years difference. The exact same crowd, but I actually had more people, but that's okay. They gave him 1 million people. They said 1 million people. I had 25,000 people. So, but these are the things that you had. We had on July 4th, a few years ago, first term. So you have this reflecting lake pond is incredible, but it was terrible. The condition, you all know it. A friend of mine came from Germany to see me, and he said, "Oh, we went over. It's so sad." What's sad? This is a number of months ago. He said it's filthy, dirty. The water's disgusting looking. It's not representative of the country. And I said, well, I'm gonna have to go take a look, because, you know, Secret Service doesn't let you just walk around to for any action. And I went over there with Secret Service in tow, and I said, isn't that a shame? It's terrible. And so they had bids from the Biden administration, Sleepy Joe, and they had bids for years. They were gonna do something to fix it, but they never got it done. And it's so important for our country. Everybody knows this. It covers the Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial. It's in between. It's 2,200 feet. That's taller than any building in the world if you lay it down on its side. Think of it, 2,000. That's a long, over 2,000 feet long. Such would be many swimming pools, many stacked up together. But it would be the equivalent of the tallest building in the world, plus laid down on its side. So it's very big, it's very wide actually. It looks narrow because it's so long. And so the pricing was coming in over the years, but it came in sort of recently that it was going to cost $301 million to fix it. It was going to take 3.5 years. So they had to take all the granite out, which is there again, 1922. And it was leaking like a sieve. You couldn't keep water, couldn't keep anything. And granite's not the right stone for that, right stone for that, but not for that. And I said, you know, I have an idea. It's 301 million, it was gonna take 3.5 years. So remember this number, 301 million, this is a business study. And it was gonna take 3 to 3.5 years. And over the years as a developer, I've probably built more than 100 swimming pools, different buildings I built. And I have some really good pool builders. I also had some really bad ones, but we took care of them. They didn't last too long, Howard. But I've had some really good ones, some very talented people. They're great people. I have such great respect for contractors that are good and such disdain for contractors that are bad. They charge you more money and they give you a bad job, but we don't accept it. But over the years, I've had 3 or 4 really good ones, and I took the best of the 3. I had all 3 go, but I ended up taking the best. And I said, would you take a look at this? It's 2,200 feet long. He said, what do you want me to look at? So I said, have a little swimming pool. Think of it as a swimming pool. I said, oh, how big is it? I said, 2,200 feet by 167 feet wide. He said, that's the biggest swimming pool. He said, I've been doing this for a lot of years, so I've never heard of a pool like that. I said, well, you'll see, it's a reflecting pool. And very famous, very big signal, and very important for Washington, D.C., where we, by the way, have almost no crime, I have to say. That's maybe more important than talking about this. We have a crime down from a tremendously high, one of the worst in the country. We have almost no crime. People are walking around, restaurants are opening all over the place, the place is bustling. But that makes us even more important. So instead of being a dirty, disgusting place where garbage was in it and everything else, and I want to give Doug Burgum incredible credit, because he was involved, the Secretary of Interior, he was involved right from the beginning. I called him, I said, Doug, I'm getting a lot of complaints about the condition of this, what do you think? And he went over, he studied it, and he came back with some ideas. But I said, you know, Doug, I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools. Up the road, we have a club, we have an Olympic-sized swimming pool. He did it 20 years ago, and it's perfect to this day. So I asked him, I said, I have an idea. I'm going to send my contractor over and take a look. He looked at it, he called me up, he said, so we could do something on it? He said, it's perfect, actually. He said, it's really decaying and it's a terrible condition. But if you would, I'd like to work 2 weeks on cleaning it up, which is, if you see right here. I'd like to repoint and fix some of the joints. It won't matter because we're putting a substance over the top, but it's nice to have a nice surface. And he said, it'd take me 2 weeks. And if you don't mind, then I'd like to pour the latest and greatest filament or material, which is essentially a pool surface, but it's industrial grade pool. And he said, what color would you like, sir? I said, well, what about turquoise, like in the Bahamas? He said, well, this is Washington, sir, we can give you turquoise, but why don't you try like, we have a color, it's called American flag blue. I said, that's the color I like. He talked me into it very easily. So he said, that's the color I like. So he came in, and remember, 3.5 years, have to take all the granite out, then you have to put all brand new granite in, take years to do it, over 300 million. Our job will take 1 week. It will cost about $1.5 million. And people said, wow. And here's the only difference, because somebody said, well, the difference is, the difference is this is much better. This will last 30, 40, 50 years. And if it didn't, you do it again quickly if you want. So it's being done now, and I think you find it really amazing to go take a look. So here it is. You see the trucks. He's got scrapers and all sorts of equipment to make the stone as good as possible without removing it. So we're using the existing surface, so we don't have to spend millions of dollars in demolition. And he said, much better to leave the stone than it is what's underneath. They're afraid to look. And so you see it's beautiful, clean, it's ready to be taken care of. Here's a sign that we put, and so Doug Burgum and myself are involved in that. But when you take a look at the surface, we have it in good shape, and they just started today putting down the material. It's a machine, it lays it very evenly, beautiful, it goes from one side to the other. It'll take about 3 days. And you're gonna end up with a beautiful, beautiful reflecting pool, the way it's supposed to be, much better than it ever was, actually. It'll stay clean. We even have robots that go in it, and they ride around the bottom and they clean it like a swimming pool, but these are a much higher level. This is industrial grade, and it's really beautiful. So you're gonna have a beautiful pool, and you'll have it for July 4th, long before July 4th. Instead of taking 3.5 years, we're taking a week. And instead of spending $301 million, we're spending less than $2 million. And I think it's a great business story, because there are many things like that that I see. I mean, not maybe to that extent, but there are many things like that I see. I often talk about the pen. This pen's better than the one that they used to give away for $2,000. I won't go on a long story about that, because a couple of people said, he kept talking about the pen. No, I gave you the whole history of it. Actually, many people found it interesting, and some people thought I was doing too much of a weave. But actually, with this pen, for $3, $5, $2, whatever the hell it costs, is better than the one for $1,000 to $2,000 that we used to hand away. So that's the short version of it. I like the short version better. But the long version is this one. So this is an amazing thing that's happening, and this is a big, big beautification. In addition to that, the sidewalk areas around it, which were done in granite, similar granite to that, actually not as nice as we have here, to be honest with you, but the people that did it weren't in the world of real estate like I am. But they have good granite, circling it, and we're going to repoint it, meaning we're going to caulk it up and repoint it, make it good. And we're going to also sandblast it, it'll be like brand new. So we're going to have, in another couple of weeks, we're going to have the most beautiful reflecting pool between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial that you've ever seen. And I hope the media can go over and maybe watch them do it, because I think it's very exciting. And so a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time, and you get a better product than you could ever get the other way, and it'll be beautiful. And as you said, it will be American flag blue. Any questions, please?
Yes, sir. Can you talk a little bit about why you're naming Secretary of Fire yesterday, sir?
He's a wonderful guy. He just put out a statement about him. He's a very good man. I really liked him, but he had some conflict with, not necessarily Pete, with some other, he's a hard charger, and he had some conflicts with some other people, mostly as to building and buying new ships. I'm very aggressive in the new shipbuilding, and somehow he just didn't get along with him. He's an excellent guy. I think he would have gotten along great with me. I didn't really deal with him too much, but he's I consider him to have done a very good job. I put out a nice statement about him. You got to get along, especially in the military. You got to get along, and some people liked him, some people didn't, and that's usually the truth about everything. But I found him to be a very good man, and I liked him a lot.
How long are you willing to wait until you get a...
Well, don't rush me. Don't rush me, Jeff. Guys like you want to say, oh. So we were in Vietnam like for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We were in for all the, I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie. but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks. And their military is totally defeated. They're outside of the little wise guy ships, I call them the wise guy ships, the little boats that they have running around with guns in them. We'll take them out too when we see them. But their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, all of their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Maybe they loaded up a little bit during the 2-week hiatus, but we'll knock that out in about 1 day if they did. We've done an amazing job. Their leaders are gone. Their leaders are all gone. Part of the problem is that, that's why I can't really answer your question. They have all new leadership and they're fighting like cats and dogs for who's going to control. And because we've created a real mess for them, but they've created a mess for the world over the last 47 years. They've killed a lot of our people. When you see a soldier, a young person, or now an older person, but a person without legs or without arms or with a face that got blown to pieces, most likely it was from Iran. It was Soleimani who I killed. Soleimani loved the roadside bomb. He was an evil genius. He was a brilliant general. Probably we wouldn't be as far advanced had I not taken him out. That was the beginning of it all. And then I ended the Obama horror show. The nuclear transaction that he made was horror. It gave him a road to the, you call it, I mean, what the deal that he did, the Iran nuclear deal, was so bad. It gave him a road to a nuclear weapon. And I will tell you, I deal with him. You cannot give Iran a nuclear weapon. This is all about a nuclear weapon. They cannot have the nuclear bomb, and they're not going to have the nuclear bomb. So we've taken out their military. We've hit about 75% of our targets. We stopped a little early because they wanted to have some peace. And we have a blockade that's 100% effective. And they're getting no business. And as you know, they're not doing well economically, financially. They're not doing any business because of the blockade. They want to make a deal. We have been speaking to them, but they don't even know who's leading the country. They're in turmoil. They're in turmoil. So we thought we'd give them a little chance to get some of their turmoil resolved. But, you know, and I hope the fake news, people like you, I hope the fake news are going to be able to write about it accurately, because when you say, oh, they're fighting very well, they're not fighting well. They've been obliterated, Jeff, obliterated. 159 ships are in the Navy. You know how many ships are at the bottom of the sea, Jeff? 159. So, you know, and if you read the New York Times, the failing New York Times, subscriptions are way down, as you know. That's because people don't believe this stuff anymore. If you watch CNN, you'd think that they're doing well in the war. They're not doing well. They're getting absolutely decimated. Now, with all of that being said, we'll see what happens. They have a lot of, we have no pressure. It's only guys like you with a question like that about what's your time? We've been doing it for 5.5 weeks.
But sir, it's your administration, 8 weeks that the U.S. now has been involved with Iran. You had initially said it would be 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, I hope that, but I also took a little break. I gave them a break. And remember this, I want to make the best deal. I could make a deal right now. Do you know that if I left right now, we had a tremendous success. It would take them 20 years to rebuild, but I don't want to do that. I want to have it everlasting. I want to have it where they never have a chance to get it. I mean, the way you asked that question, yeah, I did say it. I thought it would take 4 to 6 weeks, and I was right. Because at the end of 6 weeks, at the end of 4 weeks, their military was decimated.
So what are you saying?
But now what I'm doing, I can't tell you that. I don't want to put that kind of a timetable on it, but it'll go pretty quickly. And we'll have the strait opened up. Now, right now, we have it closed. We have total control of the strait. And the fact that it's closed, you know, they would have opened it up 3 days ago. They came to us and they said, we will agree to open the strait. And all my people were happy. Everybody was happy except me. I said, wait a minute, if we open the strait, that means they're going to make $500 million a day. I don't want them to make $500 million a day until they settle this thing. So I'm the one that kept it closed. We have total control of it. And it'll open when they make a deal or something else happens that's very positive.
What do you say to the American people who question how much longer this will take? Obviously, we know that they are having.
You're such a disgrace. Did you hear what I just said? Vietnam, how many years was Vietnam?
I understand, sir, but
How
you
many
are
years was
past your
Vietnam?
60 deadline. So
Well, I
I'm
did
just
my,
wondering-
I
I'm just
took,
wondering
I
what you
took,
say to the American people
I
who are
took
wondering about
the
length
country
of
out
this.
militarily in the first 4 weeks. I took it out militarily. Now what we're doing is sitting back and seeing what deal. And if they don't want to make a deal, then I'll finish it up militarily with the other 25% of the targets. We've hit 78% of the targets that we've wanted to hit. We've knocked out their manufacturing. We've knocked out their missile production. We've knocked out their drone production. We've knocked out everything. In some cases, when I say knocked it out, 70, 80, 90%. It's amazing what we've done. So I've done that within that period of time that I mentioned, but I don't want to rush myself, you know, because every story says, oh, Trump is under time pressure. I'm not, no. You know who's under time pressure? They are. Because if they don't get their oil moving, their whole oil infrastructure is going to explode. You know what that means? Because they have no place to store it. And because they have no place to store it, if they have to stop it, something happens that only Len can explain. Something happens underground that essentially renders it in very poor shape, and you never recover fully. You can recover 50, 60%, but you can never have it like it is right now. And they have a matter of days before that event takes place. So I'm not under any pressure whatsoever. We've never had so much ammunition. Our ships are loaded. I call them locked and loaded. They're locked and loaded. They're ready to go. We have much higher quality equipment than we did when we first started the war, and or the military operation, whatever you want to call it. And they're coming to us. The problem they have is they are very disorganized right now. Well, now yesterday, and I was very pleased with this, 8 young women were going to be executed yesterday afternoon at 6 o'clock. And I asked them, call it a favor or call it just a moral request that they not be executed. And they came back with an answer that they won't be executed. They're going to release, there was protesting. 8 beautiful young women. Very young women, and the pictures in the paper, and it's been a story for a little while, and I saw that, and I said, let's see if we can save them, and it was very nice what happened. So they're not going to be, what they're doing is, as you know, they're releasing 4 of them very shortly, and they're going to keep 4 of them in jail for a period of 1 month and release them, so they won't be executed yet.
So if you're asking for more time to sort out negotiations.
I'm not asking you for more time, I'm not asking you for them, no.
But if you need more time.
I'm not asking anybody for more time.
If you need more time, does that mean Americans should anticipate spending more on gasoline for the foreseeable future?
For a little while. And you know what they get for that? You know what they get for that? Iran without a nuclear weapon that's going to try and blow up one of our cities or blow up the entire Middle East. You want to see what shock would be? And I have to be honest, the stock market is at an all-time high right now. I thought it would have been down 20, 25%.
But you want to try to price it down?
Can I finish my question? Wise guy. Stock market's at an all-time high right now. I projected, and I'm pretty good at this, that the stock market, Howard, would drop maybe 20%, 25%. And I understood that, and I said, hey, it's a bad thing, but I have to do what's right for the country, even the world. Because you can't have them, you cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. So the stock market, unlike what a lot of people were predicting, I thought they weren't necessarily wrong. The stock market today hit an all-time high. Hit an all-time high yesterday, the day before, and it's staying there. I thought oil would go up to maybe $200 a barrel, and oil is a different number than anyone thought. In fact, this country is much slower because we have all the oil we can use. We're actually, ships are coming from all over the world to Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska. They're coming from all over the world to get oil from the United States, while this is closed, the Hormuz Strait. So, if you look at what I said, I guess it was right, because I said I'd have it 4 to 6 weeks, and in 4 weeks we have totally defeated that military. So right now, I don't want to rush it because you guys are, trying to make us look as bad as possible. I don't want to rush it. I want to take my time. We have plenty of time, and I want to get a great deal. I want to get a deal where our nation and the world is safe from lunatics with nuclear weapons.
If it does go to 200, are you okay with that, sir? if oil goes into?
I think that there's nothing worse than a nuclear weapon that takes out one of your cities, or two of your cities, or three. I think there's nothing worse than a nuclear weapon that's going to destroy the Middle East, including Israel. I think there's nothing worse than Europe being under attack by people that have missiles now that reach Europe. As you know, they don't reach us, but they reach Europe. But they will reach us at some time, probably the not too distant future, unless we stop them now. I think there would be nothing worse than having nuclear holocaust in Europe, London, Paris, various places in Germany, all targeted. No, what I say is you can't let them have. I don't think it will happen, by the way. I really think we actually, it turns out that we are drill baby drill, and it turns out we're producing a lot of oil, and they're buying the oil. They're going to Alaska, they're going to Texas, Louisiana, and our guys have done a fantastic job. We're putting out right now more oil and gas than we ever have in the history of our country. And one other thing, there are more people employed today in the United States than ever in the history of our country.
Mr. President, I have a question, sir. Is it true that your administration is considering sending 1,100 Afghans to the Democratic Republic of Congo? And if so, do you have a response to
I
that?
don't know, I have to check.
Sir,
Thank you, Mr. President. Breitbart News' Matt Boyle just published an interview with Greek Prime Minister Mitsotakis, in which the Prime Minister said that he's rooting for you to succeed in getting a deal with Iran. He also said he looks forward to hosting you in Greece later this year. Do you have any response?
No, it's really nice. I mean, Greece has been very supportive, actually. Greece has been terrific. He's a terrific guy. Because he understands the importance of it. You know, oil goes up a little bit. I hate it. You know, I was the one that had it down to $60 a barrel. And I looked at guys like Howard Lutnick. Howard, you remember it well. I said, well, we just hit an all-time high in the history of the market. Think of this. When we hit 50,000, I was told, everybody was told, when I won the election, November 5th, they said, well, during the 4-year period, it'll be impossible for the Dow to ever reach 50,000. It'll be impossible for the S&P to ever hit 7,000. Impossible. And you remember that, Howard, right? It was going to hit maybe 6, 7 years, 8 years, but I did it in my first year, hit 50,000. Now it's just about at 50,000, and S&P is higher than it was when we started. And S&P hit over 7,000. And that was before the year ended up 1 year. So I can only tell you this, it'll end. I don't think it'll be very long, by the way. They're delaying it because we don't know who to deal with. They are in, you know, they know who the leader is in this country. We don't know who the leader is in Iran. Because remember, regime change. Khomeini is gone. He's gone to greener pastures. He's gone, and all of his team is gone. Then the second group came in, they're all gone. And now you have the third group, and they're a little concerned about being gone too.
So would you use a nuclear weapon against Iran? You posted on
No.
Truth Social a few weeks ago.
We don't need
That's
it.
not
Why do
what
I need it? Why would a stupid question like that be asked?
You
Why would I use a nuclear weapon when we've totally, in a very conventional way, decimated them without it? No, I wouldn't use it. A nuclear weapon should never be allowed to be used by anybody.
Have those kind of Iran given a timeline when they
So
could get
we're
your
all very much looking forward to. Prince Harry today has said that he would like to see you do more to end the war in Ukraine. Do you think it's appropriate for a royal to make those comments ahead of the visit on Monday?
Prince Harry?
Yes, sir.
How's he doing?
He's in
How's his
Ukraine.
wife? Please give him my regards, okay? No, I don't know. I know one thing. Prince Harry is not speaking for the UK. That's for sure. I think I'm speaking for the UK more than Prince Harry. But I appreciate his advice very much.
Would you
Great
invite him
advice.
to the dinner, to the state visit?
Well, I look forward to the dinner. We're having King Charles come. He's a friend of mine. We're really looking forward to it. We've spoken, and we're going to have a great time. I tell you, if I had that ballroom built, it would be filled. I wish we had more seats. You know, they've wanted a new ballroom for 150 years. Now they're getting the best in the world. We're going to have the best in the world. But, you know, we have a room that's not big enough to handle what would be a big crowd. But we're going to have very great people that love the UK. I love the UK. I think they made a big mistake on energy. You should open up the North Sea in Aberdeen. You should open it up. And the other thing is they made a big mistake on immigration. Okay.
Sir, I'm trying to
Please,
what do you hope to learn from Janine Pirro's investigation into the fence renovation that you
Say it
did
again.
now? What do you hope to learn from the Janine Pirro's investigation into the Federal Reservation that you did not learn when you visited the site yourself last year?
Well, look, you know, the Federal Reserve Building is a small building. They're gonna be in there by the time it opens, in my opinion, for $4 billion. I built a hotel down the road for $201 million that I believe is bigger than the Federal Reserve Building. $201 million. And the ballroom, I'm gonna have the ballroom from 300 to 400 million, depending on finishes, like marbles, the quality, quality finishes, we'll go top of the line. But that's a much bigger project. When you look at the fact that they've taken this beautiful building and destroyed it, they've taken down the beautiful ceilings with eagles, they've taken down the walls that are 1.5 feet thick, masonry. You couldn't hear from office to office. They ripped it all down. They ripped down, because Kevin Warsh, who's terrific, said, gee, the saddest thing is they ripped down the nicest building in Washington for boardrooms and all. Did you know about that building? They ripped it down. It was beautiful. The boardroom building, it was beautiful, and they ripped it down. And probably because it cost so much to fix it. So I would have done that job for 25 million had money left over. It's gonna cost more than, in my opinion, it's not gonna open for a long time. You know, Kevin may not be able to have an office. I'm gonna have to get him an office. Can you give him an
Yes,
office?
yes, please.
Bobby, do you have some space over there, please? But, he has more than you think. But we're gonna have Kevin sitting right next to you, Bobby. But it may not open for a long time. I looked at it the other day, it's a see-through. See-through, you know, that means the walls aren't even up yet. This is after years and years of construction. And somehow, you have to find out what went wrong. That a small building, I could have done it for $25 million that had money left over. It would have been beautiful. That a small building can cost $4 billion. It may never open. It may never open. And we have to get to that. On top of that, he's been terrible on interest rates because he should have lowered interest rates. That's why I call him Jerome Too Late. Too Late is his nickname. Jerome Too Late Pal. He likes me a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay, Trump has the gift of gab. He has the longest. Trump has the longest interview. But anyway, like someone had mentioned in a comment, hey, you guys, I'm Cindy. This is Elijah. Hi to our moderators. We saw Sincere Essence was here. Indoor. Hi, Indoor. And I think someone else was here. Our moderators. Well, we thank you guys. I know we haven't been here for a minute because you know you got to take a break, and then we're trying to revamp and we're doing stuff behind the scenes that we're going to bring to you guys. And we hate not coming on because you know your viewership drops when you're not being consistent. So look for us every day. We know we can build it back up, but we're trying to move forward in 2026. And what will help this channel is for free. Like we're not getting the super chats, which we do appreciate, and the financial support. But the way that you can support this channel is just smashing the like. YouTube doesn't care any longer how large a channel is, how many subscribers. They're going by the likes. They want to see that people are being active, they're liking the videos, and that's how it goes out to the algorithm. And that's why we put it in the chat to smash the like. So that's how our channel can grow, along with you guys subscribing.
Yeah, the engagement.
Yeah, they want the engagement. So you can have 1 million subscribers and you can get 1,000 views. They don't care. It doesn't matter. Now everybody is competing worldwide, and because our channel has gotten hundreds and thousands of people per live stream, and it went down because when they changed the rules.
Oh, thank you. Relaxing Music said I'm subscribing. Love the content.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And we had some questions. Like this is our reaction. What people don't realize, since we've been doing the channel, we should have been saying it from the beginning. Look for our reaction after the video. And one of our reactions that we're going to go, like someone, we want to answer a question. And we're going to go back to, we're going to answer a few questions, and you didn't even have to super chat us for us to respond to you. Where was it at? I know it was next to Essence when she came on the live stream. I want to read it.
Up top.
Yeah, I want to. Oh, it's here. Okay, read that.
Trump wants black folks out of this country. I guess you think you're not a part of the black community.
Oh, what a wonderful question. I hope that you are still joining us because we're responding to, what is her name? Lisa?
Yeah, Lisa.
Yeah, we're responding to your question, Lisa. And you said your question was Trump wants black folks out of this country. I guess you think you're not part of the black community. Well, Trump wants not just like you said he wants black people out of the country. It's not even just black people. Trump wants number one, all non-citizens, illegal aliens, illegal immigrants out of the country, regardless of race, regardless of color. He wants them out. If you enter this country illegally, he wants you to be removed.
Why you had to reply to that? Oh wow.
We got. Oh, thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you.
Oh my God.
Bless you.
God bless you. We do appreciate you. You know, we don't get anything. That is such a blessing, and it really, really means a lot.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I want Eli. I have my son on because I have my generation, but I want this is like the young generation. So you guys, I don't think it's any other show that has a son and a mother that are black that are on YouTube doing this type of show.
I was going to reply that one comment about Trump wants black people.
Go ahead, get in the camera.
Out of this country. Like, what are you saying about Joe Biden and his 1994 crime bill that mass incarcerated black people and took fathers out of the household to raise their children?
To them.
So it's like you can't pick and choose. You have to look at both sides and use that argument for both.
So the thing, like when you say black folks, like people don't understand. It's not all black folks. Foundational black Americans are in the Constitution. We're the only ones that are in the Constitution. That was made for us. But somehow the Constitution, it was meant for former slaves and their ancestors, their children and so forth. It was for us, but that's why Trump been going to court, because people feel as though they could come in the country and become a citizen, but it wasn't written for them. So foundational black Americans is what I'm focused on. That's what I am. My ancestors are foundational black Americans. We're not Haitian Americans. We're not Jamaican Americans. We're not, from all the other different different countries in the continent of Africa. We are foundational black Americans, and we're the trendsetters of the world. Everybody gets everything, not from Africa, from black Americans in the United States of America. So Trump is after everyone. He was after the Venezuelans, trying to get them out. He's after the Haitians, trying to get them out, trying to get the Somalians out, trying to get Chinese nationals out. So he's been going after non-citizens, and we are very much part of the black community, and our ancestors built this country. So he can't remove foundational black Americans, and we're the only ones that have a right to be here.
John, why I brought that up is because you have to look at both sides. You can't just, first off, you're making an accusation about Trump, but you have to look at both sides and what they have both done to the black community. You can't just say and make an assumption about Trump without saying everything the Democratic Party, like they did with the Ku Klux Klan, Joe Biden,
the Civil Rights
Bill, and everything. Jim Crow.
That was all Democrats.
All Democrats.
I didn't know. I thought that the Democrats were the good guys. I thought the Republicans were the bad guys. So all this time, I had been voting for the Democratic Party, but I had no idea that the Ku Klux Klan was started in, Pulaski, Tennessee. That's Democrats. The 1994 crime bill, the author of it is former President Biden, that caused mass incarceration of black men, mostly. And they said, where are the black fathers? Okay, well, that's another form of slavery. They take and lock them up. They allow them to be raped in jail. They're not out here. That's why our birth rate is where it's at. That's one way you can stagnate black birth. Then they put Planned Parenthood, Democrats, in our neighborhood. Even the previous election, Kamala Harris ran on abortion and had a freaking They were eliminating babies at the DNC. That talking about, is that being a Christian? They were eliminating babies running for president.
Well, John,
So I didn't know all of this. And then when Trump came into office, the reason why we were supporting Trump was because he didn't do that to us. He didn't do the 1994 crime bill. He didn't cause mass incarceration. And the Republican Party, not talking about Trump and MAGA, they were supporting, the first Republican was Abraham Lincoln. They were not for against the civil rights bill. The Democrats filibustered the civil rights bill for 70 days, that all these illegals and non-citizens and all these other people that enter our country, they should be thinking Black Americans, but because it's because of us that you have the benefits when y'all try to turn y'all noses up and act like Black Americans are beneath you when we're not. But that's why we supported Trump. But now Trump, it really matters who you hang with. The people that are in Trump's ear. Trump loved Michael Jackson. Y'all go watch Michael Jackson movie. He loved who is it? Tyson, Tiger Woods, or different Black people. Trump was a Democrat, just like that Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, that's standing back there with Trump, that became a Republican, just like Tulsi. These people were Democrats. So, but right now, it's like who to vote for, because now Trump had Byron Donalds do a similar bill, like the 1994 crime bill. Byron Donalds is in Florida trying to become the governor of Florida, and he came back to Congress to issue a bill to lock up Black children. So I'm like, okay.
Now that
so we got a lot of stuff that's going on right now. So that's why we're independent.
Now the person who just said they were subscribing now has said, "Oh, I subscribed before I knew you were racist against yourself, unsubscribing."
Oh, you know what? Obviously, you have a communication problem because you're not hearing what I am saying. That's your will. It doesn't, you know what? You have free will to subscribe or not subscribe, but we have over 35,000 people and we have like almost 20 million views. So a lot of times people, you don't grow as a person, and I'm quite sure you're an adult. You're probably an older adult. And you shouldn't be so emotional and sensitive. If you can't hear what people have to say, you can't continue to grow as a person regardless of your age. You have to hear people out. I feel like I have an advantage. I voted Democrat and I have voted for Republicans. I voted for both. And I'm going by who I feel as though that's best for the country. When Kamala ran, I didn't think she was actually the best person. I'm not saying now if Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, if he had ran, I felt as though that he would have been a better president or vice president than Kamala Harris or Tampon Tim.
Relax.
So it wasn't a good ticket that ran for the Democratic Party.
Relax. And what did we say that offended you? Because now you're saying you heard her very clearly. What did
we're not going to spend time. If they want to talk, they can super chat us. If you want to talk, you can super chat.
I just want to know what.
It doesn't matter. If they don't even, we're not going to give energy because that's one individual out of millions. And you haven't grown up yet. Because you can't handle conversation. You get all, they get all offended in your panties that people can't even make a comment without you being offended. Huh?
They just want to hear stuff that makes them feel good.
Well, they can. They gotta go listen to Barney. Barney makes you feel good. You gotta go to PBS and be in Bubble Land, because this life, things are happening every day that we are for and that we're not for, regardless whatever administration is in power. I can't see how anybody can agree with anybody that's in the elected office 100% with everything. You don't agree with your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your children, your boss, your teachers, your neighbors, with everything. Nobody does. That's reality. And I'm sorry, I'm the one that have to tell you that is reality.
Because these other news sources just say one side.
Yeah, so anyway, we are Black, and we're foundational Black Americans, and Trump is not focused on just one group of people. One ethnicity. Like you're saying, Black Americans. I guess you're not part of the Black community. No, we're part of the foundational Black American community. That to clarify, we are the ones that are allowed to vote in this country. The foundational Black Americans are allowed to vote in this country because we are United States citizens by law. Okay, so that's who we are for. That's our community. That's our community. And the other person said they wanted to say something about Trump and the AI with him. The other person said something about what do you feel about Trump. These are just comments. We're responding to comments that people put in the chat. They said, how do you feel about Trump doing AI? Put himself as Jesus. I think the comment went something like that. Well, Trump is a troll, but he shouldn't had troll like he's Jesus or whatever. The Pope didn't even like that. So you can't control people. Trump is like 80 years old. He's going to do what he wants to do. You can't control people.
Hey,
like he is only one God. So Trump he needs people to talk to him before things are posted, because that was out of order. And as far as the Christian community, that's disrespectful, because there's only only one God.
Slander in Christianity is day of visibility.
Yeah, well, Biden did the day of visibility. Easter Sunday on Easter. He did not acknowledge Jesus. He acknowledged day of visibility for transgenders. So that was truly offensive to me. Okay, so we can go back and forth with both sides because nobody's perfect, and that's why I said that we gotta take some and give some. That's how it is. And I know this channel, there are adults on here that still haven't grown up. And that's it. It comes with maturity to be able to handle conversations. You have to be able to handle conversations. I just want people that's for all the people. That's my only goal. Be fair to everyone. It's like people get in office and they sell you everything. The Democratic Party, they are not focused on American citizens. And they let you know by their actions. Actions speak louder than words. They don't talk about us. They'll fight Trump about illegal aliens. They don't fight Trump. I'm saying they want to fight him. They don't fight Trump about things they want for the people that elected them into office, because we're the ones that have the right to vote. But their whole goal is to legalize them so they'll have another voting block, because the Black voting block they have on lockdown. We keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, and they call that insanity. But that's what the Black community is. No matter what, we still gonna vote majority for the Democratic Party. So they don't have to do anything for the Black community, because we don't stand together as one. And until we stand together as one, then that's how long it's going to take for us to have policies that favor us as a people.
It's looking like John's just trying to argue. Now he said,
you always read these. I don't even know why you give the energy.
Because he was talking about the post, but never mind.
Yeah. So, but anyway, you guys, we want what's best for the country. I just want someone to run that's actually for the American people. Period. I don't care what party you belong to. I want you to be about all Americans, not just non-citizens, or just say just all Republicans, because Trump is the president of all the people. And a lot of times he talks like he's just the president of Republicans and MAGA, but he's the president of the Democratic Party. It's only one president at a time, and that's Donald J. Trump. He's the elected president. He won.
Now they're saying we're ignoring the poster.
What poster?
The comment I was talking about.
About what? Jesus?
Yeah.
No, nobody's ignoring it, but you can't stop what grown people do. He posted something that I felt as though I already said it was disrespectful to Christians, because there's only one God. But I understand from Trump's past post, he's a troll. Y'all know what trolling is? He's a troll. He thought that was funny.
Yeah, because he's making a point. Oh, so then you can't trust the president if you can't trust what he posts.
Well, you don't trust man. You have to trust God. Man is fallible. Trump isn't perfect. He's fallible just like everyone else. None of us are perfect. But we try each day. You have a day of new mercies, and you can ask God for forgiveness of all your sins, and you can start over again. And Trump talks more and more, maybe because he's older. I hear him talking more and more about Jesus. He's on his mind. Obviously, Jesus is on his mind. He's been in his recent meetings, he's been talking about Jesus. So I don't know if the Holy Spirit is speaking to him, but he's giving God Jesus thanks and stuff that sometimes it surprises me when all of a sudden out of nowhere, and he's done it recently, he thanked Jesus. He was talking about Jesus. So prayers, people are praying. You got to pray for your president, whether you agree with them or not. Just like you pray for President Biden, President Obama, President Bush, who the other presidents before,
Kennedy.
President, all the presidents. You have to pray for them because they're men. You have to pray for them, and nothing's more powerful than prayer. So anyway, you guys, it's been a long stream. We're going to jump off, but don't forget to hit these like, shares, and subscribe. Thank you so much for this super chat. Because
John, did you hold Joe Biden to that standard with his auto pen?
God bless you too, Gerald. Thank you so much. We do appreciate, you guys that didn't super chat us or whatever. And this helps us because I need a teleprompter. I like being authentic, but I think that I wanted to be more structured because we don't use a script. As y'all can tell, we are real, and a lot of people can't just talk real. I've seen some popular YouTubers that have been on other shows, and when they're left to give their opinion or talk, there's nothing there because they use all teleprompter during their live streams or during their broadcasts when they upload. And I was like, wow, I've seen some that have over 1 million subscribers, and then I hear them speaking on other shows, and there's nothing there.
Nobody on the stream is doing blasphemy. It's like everyone in the comments is trying to argue today.
Yeah, but it's okay. God bless all of y'all. None of us are perfect, and God bless you. Hopefully your families are safe and all is well, because all is well in this house. Life, you wouldn't need Jesus if life was perfect. Life is not perfect. Every day is new challenges. But because of the blood of Jesus, he said his yoke is easy and his burden is light. So the problems, just give it to God and be happy, because life is too short to be miserable every single day. Some people are just miserable at work, miserable at home, miserable with their neighbors, miserable with their family. Some people are just naturally miserable. And they bring that with them. Wherever they go, it's like they change the atmosphere. The whole environment changes when they enter in the room. You feel that heaviness, that heavy spirit that enters into the room, like could enter this chat.
Because, John, you are clearly showing that you're for the Democrat Party. And I'm saying you have to hold both sides to the same standard, was my point I was making.
That's the problem. People might need a script. Yeah, well, just about all of them need a script, but then that's not coming from them. Their script is coming from, they're generating it from AI. They're getting their facts and all of that from AI. They're talking. They're not reading like ground news and reading the articles and getting both perspectives. I like listening to Fox, and I listen to CNN, and it's Now, MSNBC, Morning Joe, all the shows. You listen to everyone so that you can have the different perspective. Because if you listen to, say, Fox News, it's going to be like a Republican viewpoint. And then you can say, okay, this is how they feel about this topic. Then that same topic, you go over to MS Now, and you can hear what they're saying about the same topic. Or you go to Ground News, who split it, the left and the right, and they had the biases, and then you can see which I invest in Ground News. So that super chat, I pay for a subscription because it shows you both sides all at once, all these topics and everything that's going on, and it requires you to read it. I read it, and that's how I formulate my opinion. And the reason why I like doing lives with Trump, because before it hits the airways, when people upload his healthcare event that he just had, by the time it goes to NS now or it goes to Fox News, it's going to be totally more towards what they believe in. So this way you can formulate, when you see it live, you can formulate your own opinion before you listen to what the news media has to say. And I like being a free thinker. Elijah, someone left you a comment. You can read it before we jump off. I see your name. Huh?
Oh, that's John. We're having a back and forth.
Are you a co-host or a special guest? I thought this show is both of you, but it seems I may have. So no, go ahead. Go ahead, Jesse. He's a co-host. Go ahead. I'm just more chatty. Go ahead. Go ahead. Get in.
Yeah, it's the co-host show.
I'm
just pretty quiet.
He gives his opinion. You ask him a question, he'll give his opinion on the subject matter. So it's he says some things like about, what do you feel about, like that question about, are you for or do you think, are you for the black that Trump is trying to I guess deport like black American, I mean not black American, black, they're not Americans, black people, the black community, they said. And are you part of the black community?
That's just not true. I mean, trying to just deport illegals.
Yeah, he's trying. You gotta come in and carry. He's just trying to. Yeah, his focus is getting, because it costs us like $450 billion a year to support non-citizens. They don't talk much about that.
Yeah,
they don't talk about that. While you have Americans living out on the street, vets out on the streets, children out on the streets, American citizens living in cars, vans. It shouldn't be like that. And you see non-citizens are coming in, they're getting $5,000 a month cash benefits, they're getting $15,000 in SNAP benefits, they're getting housing, education, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. They were getting everything that American citizens weren't getting. And while they were giving luxury apartments, American citizens were picking through the trash and still are on the streets. And that's wrong. I want my taxpayer dollars to go first to American citizens. I don't want to go to a city and I go in there, when I travel to the different states and I go inside the city and I see American citizens begging for food on the streets. That's not right. When we're taking care of so many people who aren't citizens. That's not right. It's not right. You're not going to go to their country of origin and they're going to take care of you before they're citizens. That's a fact, and it's nothing against them because we opened up our borders to them. So it's not even their fault. That's what the previous government did to this country, and that's why we're dealing with this situation now. It's not their fault.
And it's like no one talks about too how many people that Obama deported for not being from this country.
Yeah, Obama is he's the deporter in chief. Obama deported more people than anyone else. He had kids in cages and all that, and no one says anything about that. Trump hasn't deported 1/5 of what Obama has deported. Yeah. But it's a bigger issue when Trump is doing it. And that's just how it is. And when Obama was deporting people, it wasn't Trinidad, MS-13, the cartel, ISIS, 350 terrorists, Venezuela emptying out their prisons with 15,000 convicted rapists, over 11,000 convicted murderers. It wasn't even all that. And Trump can't even get these people out. So that's how it is. That's how it is. That's just how it is. But he's the deporter in chief.
I was just making excuses.
Yeah, also, isn't it kind of upsetting that Obama deported more people with less budget than Trump has?
Just making excuses.
Yeah, but they didn't have when Obama deported people, he didn't have the whole nation doing all these rallies, No King's Day, and they've done like 20 million different rallies, and they're fighting ICE from doing their job, and they're trying to get people being let out of that been convicted of crime, have committed crimes here, and they want to pick them up from the prisons, and they won't let them. They just letting them back out on the street, and when ICE has to go in the neighborhood and get them, then that's the big issue. So,
John, when you're putting numbers out there, you have to put a source also, because we don't know if that's even true or not.
so it's just that's just how it is. We can't do. We're not in charge. The people that are elected are making. They're the ones that are doing this to this country.
Also,
So
being in this country illegally is a crime.
it's a crime.
Yeah,
That's a crime.
That's a crime.
It's a crime. So we're gonna pick and choose what crimes that we're gonna follow the law.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. We're gonna pick and choose our crimes. That's the new thing now, I guess. That's the new thing. But anybody can apply for citizenship. How about that? Anybody can apply for citizenship. That's open to everyone to apply for citizenship. You can apply for your green card, your certificate of naturalization. And it looks like people who apply, they have more respect for the country, because then they learn about the country, they learn about the history, and they have a different respect than when you just it's like when you just give your child something that they haven't earned. You give them a card that they didn't have to go get a job and work to get the car. Then you give them the car. They don't care the car gets. They're not gonna keep it clean. They don't care the car gets, just ruined. But when they had to pay for the car, they shine the car. They take it to the car wash. They shining their tires. It's a difference when you have to earn something. So they need to earn the citizenship so they can respect this country.
They're not coming here with the American dream.
So. Well, people in this country that Americans are trying to live them. Hey, how about the people in this country want to live that American dream that's just being given to them over the citizens of this country? And that's what the big issue is. But the Democratic Party, it's not like they care about non-citizens. They want votes. This is not about the people. It's about votes, you guys. You got to understand that this is we looking at, they playing chess right now. We not even moving the queen around the chessboard. We're not trying to checkmate. We're not paying attention to what's actually going on in this country. It's not about the people. It's about votes. It's about who's going to maintain the power. Do you understand? This is about money and power. Always.
So I said true, but the economy needs workers, and they brought people over to work and used for government purposes.
They took jobs from American citizens. We already have enough people to do these jobs. We had people to do the jobs before they did the recent border opening. Now we have millions of people that became our responsibility. Guess what? They didn't come in with houses and cars and Medicare and Medicaid and schooling, and we had to pay in food. They came in on our welfare. Do you understand? They came in on welfare. They were put on our welfare. If you go to the Social Security office, that's all that's in there. They're the ones in there, not American citizens. They came in, and we were given a responsibility while our brothers and sisters, fellow Americans, are out on the street. This wasn't done for American citizens. And that's the truth. They didn't come in with a house on their back. They came in only with the clothes on their back. That hurt us. And it was unsustainable. Period. We had at a minimum 14 million people in less than 4 years that we had to take care of. Come on now. Y'all are smarter than that. This is the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. It is the truth. They didn't come in with anything. Just them coming over the border, and we had to do everything for them. Moving them around, busing them to these different cities and stuff, providing housing and everything. And they gave them more than enough. While they were stepping over American citizens, and I seen some of them on on news programs talking about nothing for you. You get nothing. I seen him like with Cash Jordan. He's a YouTuber. Y'all might want to subscribe to him. He does a lot with New York. They were beating up cops in New York. Look, if a black person trying to fight a cop, you dead on arrival. They were beating up cops and then flipping them off, and then they were being released within an hour and a half. They're not even arresting them. They're not even being charged like American citizens because of these sanctuary cities. They're not even being held accountable. That's not right. When they commit a crime, if they want to be American, then they need to do the time. They need to be held accountable.
John, you also have to consider the fact that when Trump got into office, he had to deal with Joe Biden's economy. So of course unemployment is going to be high because Joe Biden economy was out of all over the place. But then again, I have to look up these facts you're putting out there to see if they're even
We're
true.
FBAs, Foundational Black Americans, and that Constitution was written for us. Not for illegal immigrants, non-citizens, but they need to thank us because all those benefits that they're getting was because of our struggles, my ancestors' struggles. While at the same time, they say that we're lazy and we're this and that, and that's a lie from hell, and that's wrong. That's wrong. Because that's a lie that's being told too many times. But anyway, you guys, we love y'all. Y'all look stuff up. We have Google, you have chat, you have Siri, you have all these tools. You got X, formerly known as Twitter. You got Instagram, you got Facebook, we have so many avenues that wasn't around 15 years ago that you don't have to listen to regular news media. You can just look stuff up for yourself. Find out for yourself.
Let me ask you, John, were gas prices, grocery store prices better when Joe Biden was in office? He's saying that Joe Biden's unemployment rate was better than Trump's.
Trump first go around, especially for Black Americans, that was like one of the best employment rates of Black Americans. Now it's like shot to hell. So I don't know, but what were you saying that
I forgot now.
Yeah, well, Joe Biden, when he was in office, Trump came in with the high inflation, high interest rate. Housing was at a low. All of the things that Trump did inherit a lot coming into office. Yeah. And that's why he started doing the tariffs, because he's like, how are we going to get rid of this enormous, that Trump didn't cause this $38 trillion deficit. That wasn't just done by him. He inherited a lot of this. So that's just how it goes. When you're in power, you got to take over from the previous administration. And whoever wins the next election in 2028, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, they're going to be faced with the same problems.
Hammer, what point are you trying to make?
Don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe. You guys, we still only got like 35 likes, huh?
He said.
What? No, you can be on.
He said, back in the day, black people don't have no rights. Remember, people. I'm saying, like, what point are they trying to make?
Yeah, but we're not living back in the day. We live in 2026. Everybody know that black people came to this country as enslaved people. Okay, that's a fact. But back in the day, that's what the Civil Rights Bill was all about, that people who are non-citizens and immigrants that have come into this country has benefited from the backs of what the foundational black people had accomplished with that Civil Rights Bill. All those shut-ins and bus boycotts and all thousands of different things that was done. But during that time, you got to remember, there were thousands of lynchings. It was a lot of stuff was it was terrible, horrific that was going on that in this country. But now that's the past, and we're not going to forget the past. But it's not 2026. And that's how come I mentioned my ancestors. Thank God for what their sacrifices. They're not forgotten, because they went through it. They didn't have a life. Like, everybody's supposed to have a God-given life. They weren't able to live their dreams and accomplish what God had created them to accomplish. They were in slavery. So that was a lot. But the Civil Rights Bill and affirmative action and things like that was accomplished because of Black Americans. So you're welcome.
Someone's angry about the slavery remarks. He said, okay, but you didn't mention that the African black nation was selling their own people into slavery. It wasn't the white man that started slavery, and there's still slavery going on today in other countries.
We can't control what goes on. First of all, slavery in other countries. We don't even control what's going on in this country. Slavery that was going on, we're not doing a history lesson about slavery. This is not what this is all about.
Now they're trying to blame black people for slavery.
You can't blame the victims. We're not going to blame the victims of slavery. We're not going to blame them because it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. Children were being shackled and sold. People were being raped, molested, killed just because of the color of their skins. They were denied education. They were denied all human rights. All human rights. So that was wrong. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on even today that's wrong. But we still are able to bypass a lot and move forward because we're a resilient people. But we can't change the past and what's going on in other countries. We don't even control what goes on in this country. But slavery in any country is wrong.
So, but it's important history on. You must mention it because you continue to make it sound like white men are responsible when indeed it was your own people.
You know what? You are freaking delusional. That what you're not going to do is saying it was our fault. Okay? Nobody made Caucasian men back then to do what they did to black people. They left England because they felt like they were being mistreated. Remember, they even did the Boston Tea Party. They came here and they said that this country was founded on biblical principle. So I don't know what biblical principles some of them were following because some of the torturous and the evil stuff was done to people. It was just wrong.
Even some of the
wrong. Now, you always got sellouts. There were people in Africa that were helping putting them on the ship for, money. For money. But what happened once they got here, they could allow those people to have gotten education and pay them a lower wage. They didn't have to make them slaves and free labor. And they continue this practice for hundreds of years. That was wrong. They are responding. They're answering to God. See, God is the ultimate judge. So everything they did, you're not going to be able to make excuses to God. You're going to make excuses for people's actions to us. But they're going to, like God said, He's the ultimate judge. All their actions, they're going to answer to God on Judgment Day. Period.
Even some of the presidents that were white, besides Obama, had slaves.
But the thing about it is that that the slave owners were majority white people. Period. And not all white people, because it was just I guess you would say like the Democratic part, whatever, the Southern, they were the slaveholders, but all white people didn't have slaves. So you don't want to lump, and there were white people fighting against the atrocity because it was wrong. It was wrong. There's a lot of white people that died to end slavery, didn't like what was going on. They was trying to free slaves a lot of people lost their lives, white people. So it's not like we're not going to put everybody like one race lumping together and saying it was all one race. It wasn't all one race. Oh, because all white people were not involved in slavery. And those are facts. But the ones that were, they were treacherous. They did a lot. I can't sugarcoat it because I know people are sensitive, but they were really, and went to church on Sunday. So they did a lot, and they're going to answer to God. He's the ultimate judge. It's not us that's judging people. This is just conversation, and everyone knows the history of slavery. They could look it up. But it's like we're trying to do that reverse psychology now, saying that like you're going to blame black people for slavery. You can't do this reverse psychology and blame black people. Come on now.
GMA, you're like not holding the majority of slave owners accountable. Instead, you're just focusing on the few black slave owners there were.
that in the beginning that they might have. That does not compensate what happened for hundreds of years and the majority of the owners and how black people were treated. We're not going to negate that and say because that's how people they trying to think. Well, it was a black person they had a slave that no, okay, but it wasn't a majority. It was nowhere near. We talking about a token few.
And they didn't have
We talking about a minute amount. Like they said, the one name was Anthony something, was a slave owner, but he probably became a slave back then, for all I know.
and they didn't have the power as
They didn't have the
majority
power.
had.
They
Yeah.
didn't have the power to even keep slaves, whatever. Because even black people that were elected to office, even during the 1800s and stuff, they were really reputable people that were taken out of office. There's a lot of stuff that happens. Suppressive people, you got to make a lot of laws against that race, and that's what happened to foundational Black Americans. But anyway, only thing we could do is move forward. Just move forward, and the people you're not responsible for what happened during slavery, but you're responsible for what happens now.
Like exactly like what Leah said. She said those black slave owners couldn't even vote.
They couldn't. Yeah, they didn't have rights.
Yeah.
They didn't have rights, and I don't know how long they were allowed to remain slave owners. I'm quite sure it wasn't that long, because they probably were trying to free themselves at one point. Because the laws were against them as well. So I don't even know how long that lasted, if any, but I'm quite sure it was not that many because the only one name that they could think of is someone named Anthony. I forget his last name. So anyway, that's for the history books. But like I said, we're responsible of our actions today. We can't go back in the past, what happened in the past, but we can be better people today. And that's all we can ask for. So nobody is going to shine a light in something that was so awful. That was just awful. Just like the Holocaust. That was that was awful. What was it? 6 million Jews were they were executed. Gas chain children, women, and men. That was awful. So was slavery. But things like that has happened. In history. Look what they did to Jesus. He was without sin and they crucified Jesus. Thank God they did because he died for our sins. Because I know I'm not perfect. So I thank God for the blood of Jesus.
Pedro, I'm going to need you to source that statistic.
Yeah. So it's a lot that's going on. What
Pedro said.
Right here?
Yeah. Up right there.
Need to go back to what? Only white voters? You sounding pretty. What they say? Me to go back to what? White people vote?
Yeah.
So no women? Like women just were allowed to vote. I think in black people, whatever, 1965 or something like that.
Men. He said white men.
Only white men. Wow, you must be a white man saying that. But God bless you, and we're gonna pray for you because you can't cage people. You can't put people in a guilty cage. You can't. People have to be allowed to become what God created them to be. So all that only one person rule. Guess what? If you're a Christian, there's not only one section of people in heaven. There's not no all black section, all white section, all Indian section, Asian, Hispanic, Jewish. I mean, God, we're made in the image of God. It's gonna be everyone's gonna be together, and we're gonna have our spiritual bodies. So people they get into this race thing or gender thing in heaven. It's not even gonna be about that.
So now he's claiming to be Mexican.
Why would you then you won't be able to vote? Because a Mexican is not white. You're not white. So you're talking against your community. You're talking against your own community.
Your own family.
Your own family. Maybe he think he's white because maybe he might be a light skin.
Yeah.
But everybody comes from black people. You know, first people on earth were black. God didn't take dirt from the ground and it became white. It was black.
Yeah, he must be a troll.
Yeah, he's talking about he's Mexican. You can't be talking about only white men to vote. I mean, you sound like you want to be back in the 1800s. You in the wrong century, dude. Anyway, God bless you. Wish the best for you. he's he's a Nick Fuentes. Oh, watch. Oh, he's Nick Fuente watches. Okay, that's now I understand. Now Nick Fuente. Okay, now I understand. Yeah, now I understand. Okay.
Hey, Pedro? Have you ever heard of Black Wall Street?
You know, we don't have to prove nothing. They got more multimillionaires that are black and billionaires other than white people than any other ethnicity. How about that? So we good over here. So anyway, you guys, God bless y'all. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe to Speak the Truth 2.0. We're going to be coming on every day. I know we're trying to look at other avenues with this channel, and I know I've been saying for a while we want to bring people on so that we can see you. You know, because a lot of people don't have their own pictures up. You know, they undercover key warriors, and we want to come on and we can have these discussions. You know, whether you're Democrat, Independent, Republican, we want to hear from you. That's what this channel is about. It's about hearing from the community, from everyone. And Trump is the president, and one president at a time, and some things we agree with him and other things we don't agree with him, but he's still the president of the United States of America.
That would be a funny live stream. Now Pedro saying we should bring him on.
It depends on how, like, people been asking us to bring people on. They got like at least 50,000 viewers. So, you know, so we might start bringing on some of the YouTubers or some of our moderators to come on that has been supporting the channel, like Indoor and people like that. And Chevy been wanting to come on, our moderators. Other people, we're going to probably talk to some other channels and maybe we'll have some of them come on Speak the Truth 2.0.
So now he said, I love all people, but there are just differences between races and ethnicities.
That's what makes us wonderful. God want us to be different. You know how bored I like eating Chinese food. I like the Asian culture. I like Italian culture. I like the Jewish culture. I like the black culture. It makes things better when you have different ethnicities. You have different flavors, different foods, different styles, different music, different everything. Life would be boring if we were all the same. All the same color, all the same, just the same everything. It would be boring. It's great that we're different. That's a beautiful thing. So just be happy how God created you. Like I am. I love how God made me. I have no complaints. You know, so just be happy how God made you. And God doesn't, He looks at the heart. So you got a lot of people you can portray and be something that you're not, but God knows you. You can't hide from God. All your secrets, when you by yourself, God knows everything about you. So, you know, you can't hide. So anyway, you guys, we're going to jump off of here. And I love you, and I'm glad you follow Christ. Oh, I love you too. God bless you. Okay, Pedro. God bless you. God bless you. God bless all of you guys. Thank you, you guys. And y'all can do us a favor. It's free. Thank you for that super chat of $100. Thank you so much. We do appreciate the monetary support. And those who can't give us a monetary support, it costs you nothing to hit the like, and that's how YouTube are doing channels now. They want, oh, thank you. Thanks. God bless you. They want, did you get the name? They want they're looking at the likes. That's how it goes out to the algorithm. Our channel can compete with someone with 1 million subscribers just by hitting a like. And like a few months ago, our normal streams were getting 100,000. 200,000 viewers at one time. When they changed the rules, a lot of channels that were getting huge numbers, it went down because you're competing with the world and the way, you know, AI doing everything. YouTube ain't even controlling this. This is AI. So AI is basing everything according to engagement, especially the likes and things like that. So God bless you guys. I want to jump back on. Check out Speak the Sports. I'm gonna be talking some football. I love the NFL, NBA. I know I don't. The NBA has gone downhill, so that used to be my number one. But now I'm into the NFL football and college football. Today's the draft, and I got Pray to All Here. That's my other channel. I just put up Psalm 91. My pastor, if you want to follow a good pastor, his name is Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell out of Atlanta. He's phenomenal. He's preaching the word of God, and I've heard everybody. I consider myself a God chaser. I was in everybody's church, traveling all over the country to hear different people speak. But this man, he is phenomenal. So anyway, God bless you. Thank you guys. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, they changed it. They made it so hard. And like by us not being on and being we really took a break for like a couple of weeks, but that hurts the channel when you take a break. But sometimes you need to step back and just look at what's going on in order to make improvements. So thanks guys for just supporting us, whether you agree with us or not. You need pushback, y'all. I like challenges. I like the pushback. That's who I am. I'm an activist. I'm an advocate. My positions have been director of publication legislation. I've been legislative director. I've sat on executive boards, AFL-CIO executive board, all that, union, all that kind of stuff. That's who I am. And I have done speeches. I've done at least maybe 300 rallies, my own rallies. I've had people like different speakers speaking out in my rallies, names, and and I've had the privilege of meeting different presidents and being in a room with them, being in Washington, going to the corridor, speaking to people like Bernie Sanders, Biden, Obama, you name them. I've been in a room with them. So I'm thankful, but maybe one day I'll run for office if I don't see someone doing better. But people need someone to be about the people. Be about the people, all the people, the American people. Be about American people. Because we already helped the world. That's why we got this deficit that we have, this $38 trillion deficit. But we need to be about the American people, because you got to help yourself so you can help others. We need to start helping our own fellow Americans. And that's how I feel. I don't want to keep seeing veterans on the streets. I don't want to keep seeing American citizens living in cars and vans and they don't have food to eat. And they got kids on the street and all this kind of stuff. And we're not helping our own American citizens. I feel as though that we need to do better. So anyway, thanks you guys. You want to say anything, Elijah, before we get off? Thanks, Endor and everyone else. Thanks you guys. God bless you. Speak to 2.0. And peace out, you guys. See you on the all the moderators. See you guys on the next live, and look for our uploads. We're going to start uploading.